entertainment, current events, and Hollywood. Don't miss Creator to Creators, hosted by the filmmaker Meosha, known for the Shudder hit documentary Horror Noir and the acclaimed film Anatomy of an Anti-Hero, Redemption. This show features interviews with filmmakers and creatives from around the globe. Join the fun with guest celebrities and gain valuable insights. Subscribe now and follow Creator to Creators.
Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Creators to Creators today. Today we have a special guest.
Charlie Newell.
Welcome. Welcome back. Welcome back.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you too. Long time, but always great to have you on. I admire your work. I think you're so talented, so just amazing person. I appreciate you and all that you've done for me and with Church Hurt, being a part of that and just being such a blessing on that. I am forever grateful. But I love going back to the beginning. I always say the beginning is, chart your trajectory. But for those that don't know what you do and who you are, tell us a little bit about, how you got in the business, and all that good stuff.
How far back you want to go? I actually felt like this was a calling to acting. And it actually happened, of all places, at School of Ministry. I was set to go into ministry, follow in my father's footsteps. And then I like to say I went to School of Ministry to get freed from ministry. Because I had a revelation that I actually wasn't called to do that, and that I was called to do this, to be in the entertainment business. Now, that was hard to accept early on. I couldn't wrap my mind around back then that God would call me into something like this, that is so notoriously kind of a crazy, sometimes even dark business. And but then I began to grow within me, and doors began to open. And I enrolled. I was still living in New Orleans at the time, I had moved back to New Orleans where I grew up, and then I enrolled at the University of New Orleans in their acting program. I was like, I got to start somewhere. I had applied to Tisch, NYU, and of course I didn't get in there. Only a select few get in those types of schools. And at that time, there was a lot happening in New Orleans with tax credits and whatnot. This was around 2003 or 4 or something like that. And there was a film coming in town called All the King's Men. And it was starring like Jude Law, Sean Penn, Kate Winslet, James Gandolfini, Anthony Hopkins. And I just remember being like, wow, this would be crazy. And I was waiting tables in the French Quarter and taking I was living with my brother, and I was taking the streetcar to work, hot New Orleans summer days, wearing a waiter's uniform on the streetcar, no air conditioning. And I read about this in the paper, and I prayed one of those message in a bottle prayers, just put it out there. It said, I would love to work alongside Sean Penn. And it felt ridiculous praying that prayer. And sure enough, like I heard they were coming to town, they were casting like extras, and they were having like a cattle call. And of course, I felt like, well, I'm not an extra. I'm training to be an actor. I don't want to do that. And then that little voice inside me said, yes, but you have no experience. So why don't you go? So I went to this cattle call in a mall for extras, and I was in line with, I don't know, 100 other people. And I kid you not, the local casting director picked me out of the crowd, pulled me aside and said, hey, we're looking for a stand-in and body double for Sean Penn, and you fit the type. Would you be interested in that? I was like, what? Are you kidding me? And 3 days later, I was on set, and in walks Sean Penn, Jude Law, James Gandolfini, and I was just like, "Wow, this is crazy."
Yeah.
And
Right?
I learned to just shut up, do what they asked me to do, which was not much, just watch Sean rehearse, stand in his place, And it was the best acting lesson I ever could have gotten to see, there were Oscar winning director, cinematographer, writer, et cetera. Steve Zalian, of course, won the Oscar for Schindler's List, and he
Hmm.
was the director. And just the lessons of seeing how this business really works, right? And long story short, a few months in, I showed up on set, and they were like, "Steve wants to throw you a line." I was like, "Throw me a line?" He's like, "Yeah, I'll give you a line in the film." I was like, "What?" So they wound up giving me a line and kind of a climactic scene, wound up getting my SAG card, and then decided, okay, I need to go to New York or LA or somewhere because, New Orleans was a great start, but I knew the market was in other places. And my brother lived in New York, so I went up there, and it was a lot of nothingness for a long time after that, I'll say. So that was kind of the origin story of how I got
Yeah.
into this business. There's a lot of in-betweens, a lot of up and downs, a lot of pain, a lot of disappointment, a lot of rejection. Still some rejection, but I'm here, man. I'm still in the game, and
I love that.
for better or worse, I'm still in it. And yeah,
That's awesome. It's for those that don't know, you said you're SAG, as both SAG actor and filmmaker, how does the those two creative disciplines influences one another?
well, SAG creates I guess, a level of professionalism that you understand you have to adhere to, right? So
Hmm.
there's that. You can't just go on anybody's backyard set and be like, "Hey, let's make something." Um, and I guess I got to a point in my career where it's like maybe I wasn't getting cast enough, and I'm like, heck, I'm gonna write something and cast myself. So I got into filmmaking proper as a means of necessity, and directing because what I wrote, I couldn't get anybody to direct. It's like, well, I believed in it so much. I'm like, I'm gonna direct it. And I've always had appreciation for directors, but I never felt like, oh man, I've got to direct.
Yeah.
So that was a whole learning experience. And of course, I realized I had to get it like under SAG signatory, ultra low budget. My wife and I produced it, and
Love it.
yeah,
That's awesome. I love that. You gotta do it yourself. That's so true.
you have to.
Um, you know, because sometimes that phone does not ring. The
No,
making of Daddy, your film, Daddy earned you two Bloody Peach Awards in
yes.
2025. What inspired the story, and why was it important for you to tell
Oh boy.
it?
I've always been drawn to the horror genre, although I wouldn't say this is directly horror. It's more like psychological horror. So
Yeah.
I think like you, big fan of Hitchcock, huge since I was
Hmm.
very young, and Kubrick and things like that. That there's kind of atmospheric, dark stories, and I came up with this honestly because I have a son and he's on the spectrum, and he was bullied a lot
Mm.
and when we had him in public school, and but not just kids. I found out that there was a PE coach who, while kids were kind of teasing him and bullying him, they this coach kind of looked on approvingly, laughing along with the kids. And I tell you, I had
Oh.
very, very, very dark thoughts
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
about what I wanted to do to this man. And then I thought, well, rather than actually do them and go to jail, maybe I should just channel this creatively into a story. And I wrote Daddy as a result of that. And to be honest with you, when I first gave it to my wife to read, she was like my first read. She was like, "Are you okay?" Which, oddly enough, that's the reaction I wanted. And she's like, "I
Right.
think you should maybe, change this." I was like, "No, no. What your reaction now is what I want. I want people to be disturbed." And frankly, I took it, and part of why I couldn't get a director is I took it to some Christian filmmakers, and they were so bothered by it. They were
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I know, but I was stubborn, and I'm like, that's the reaction I want, and respectfully, screw you. I'm making it,
That's
and
right.
the reception outside, and I'm coming at this because I know you, Meosha, and our church hurt history and things like that. For those who don't know, I'm a preacher's kid, and it's a big, big, long story. Um,
Go listen to the first episode in season one on all the streaming sites. You
there
hear
you
a
go.
story.
Am I the first episode? Oh
Shameless
gosh,
plug. Shameless plug. No.
plug it.
Or sorry, episode five. Episode five.
I have to say this though. I have received more support outside of and I use air quotes a lot, Christian filmmaking community.
Hmm.
More support in secular than I have. And I don't write Christian family oriented stuff. I don't, nor do I want to. Like, I don't want
Hmm.
to write like a version of Left Behind Part 18 or whatever they're at right now. Like, that does not appeal to me.
Yeah.
I've tried to fit in with that community. I do not fit in with that community. And
Hmm.
so, I submitted blindly to a bunch of uh, festivals because that's what they say you have to do. You have to go through the festival circuit and whatnot. And I got into a few. I didn't get into the Malmo, Sweden horror festival or whatever crazy ones I submitted to on the other side of the planet. But right here in my backyard, Bloody Peach. And what I found is it created a connection to community and people like yourself, right? Like Chandrea and some others in Indy and Derry, Titan, who became a community that I needed and connections that I crave. People that are just like, yeah, you created, man. And then the rewards that came as a result of that were secondary to the connection, to the
Right.
real connection. Not connection so that, oh, what can you do for me? No,
Yeah.
like connection of like, I actually like these people and they
Right.
like me and they liked what I created. And
Yeah.
so it's like it's horizontal networking, which um, I think is important. Not just looking to climb the ladder. We've all met those people who are like think you're the door for them. Well, I ain't your
Yeah.
door, like that's like, no, I'll help whoever I can help,
Yeah.
but it's like I don't know what level you think I'm at, but like it doesn't work that way.
Right.
So
And it's interesting because you're right. It does it that it is interesting. Like when you're because a lot of people I think they think when you do submit, it's like, oh, what am I what am I gonna get? It's like, no, the people that you connect with, I think is the most rewarding because
that is,
it is collaboration. It is building that it's hard to find good people that you really, like you said,
it
you
is.
care about and they care about you. And it's like mutual. And I think what came out of, like you said, of that is the Bloody Peach family that you're part of, which is incredible.
There's a layer in this industry. I was talking to a friend yesterday about this. There's a fringe like business of people who the business of the business that they try to
Yeah.
sell you things like classes and headshots,
Hmm.
which are necessary to a certain degree. But within that, there are so many bullshitters. There's so much people who really have no relevant real industry experience. And then there's a next layer of people who are just like trying to eke and claw their way to the top using any means and any body that they can. And that's another layer of bullshit, like fakery. And they're like, hey, how's it going? I lived in LA for a while and I felt that. But what I found is like the people at the top of the industry, like the people that I worked with on the set of like some of these films and shows that I work at, there's actually a genuineness to them that like, and a humility that's rare. And it's like you can see why they made it is because yeah, they
Hmm.
worked hard, but there's like a genuineness to them. Like the people that really make it, I think, are the ones who have that.
Yeah,
They've somehow preserved their humanity, which is not easy to do.
it's not.
And their connections are like genuine. Like I genuinely like you,
Oh,
Miosha.
me
I like
too.
I like Dre. I like the people that I met there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's not like, oh, I've got to go to this networking thing and talk to these people. It's like I like hanging out and just talking about creative things. So it's easy. So
Yeah. And it's so interesting we're talking that you brought that point up. I think it's so important and so vital. I think a lot of people have an idea, quote unquote, right, of what you should act like or what is industry standards because we what they see on social media, but that's not what it is. And
like
it's
a
like that. I think
persona.
that's yeah, yeah. So that's why there's so many
Hey,
fake. Yeah.
hey. I
Yeah.
can't do that. I fucking can't do that shit anymore. And I met a guy
I'm with you.
recently. I met a guy recently, and it's like it was through Instagram, and it's like you're just I wanted to pay a compliment, and then it came out with this whole hey, 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 and let me audition for you sometime, and I was just like, oh my God, like block. I
Right.
can't do that.
Yeah, that's
So
unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But I definitely want to say, like, it is important to be authentically yourself. But a lot of people don't really know, I guess, themselves. I think that's where it all like kind of
yeah,
lacks. It's like, oh, do I have to be like Kim Kardashian in order to be at that level like Kim Kardashian? Or if I want this, do I have to act like this?
I don't have that problem. So
It's like, yeah,
I'll never
thank
be Kim
God.
Kardashian.
No. What did it mean to you to receive the Best Original Screenplay award for you? What did that mean for
I
you?
was shocked because again, like I got into writing as a means to well, I always had stories in me. Like I was an early reader and writer when I was in school. So it's like, when I was a kid, I was weird. Like one of the earliest
Me too.
like books I learned to read, I remember it was Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, I love
And it's
Edgar.
like there's just some crazy dark stories. And I was like, 7, like reading, The Telltale Heart and Casks of Amontillado and stuff. And it's like, so I had that in me, but I think I didn't have maybe the background to have the confidence that, hey, my voice, I'm gonna just put it out there because I know my shit's good. It was more like, oh
Absolutely.
God, let me just do this because I have this story in me. I want to put it on paper. I hope people like it. I like it.
Yeah.
So I was shocked, honestly, to win that award. I was like, really?
I love it.
But
I
I'm
love it.
grateful. I'm very grateful.
Yeah. Yeah. The third annual Bloody Peach Film Festival takes place August 28th through the 30th, I believe. For
Yes.
those who may be hearing about the festival for the first time, what can attendees expect for this year's event?
Well, first of all, the name Bloody Peach. What a freaking great name. Because it encapsulates Georgia, what we're all about here, right? It's like there's a
Yeah.
huge, a thriving, vibrant filmmaking community here in Georgia. And I really believe in that. And I moved here from LA. So it's like I can say that. I have things to compare to. And then the Bloody Peach, it evokes so much you know, imagery. And it's primarily around the horror, psychological horror, or actual horror kind of genre. And it's put on by good people who are seasoned filmmakers. And there's like very little to no, there's no ego among us. So it's like we just want to promote good filmmakers and good people, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to. So, um, yeah.
I love it. I love that. Yeah, because I'm curious for those that are submitting to the festival, are there things that, when you are looking at when, being a part of the board of directors, when you are looking at short films that people submit, what are you looking for as far as like, okay, this is a good film. This is not ready. Are there certain things that you guys are looking for?
I know what I'm looking for. I mean, I want a good story that's just
Yeah.
honest. It does not have to be the the best cinematography or whatnot. or the best acting. That's all cool and good and stuff, but like an honest story. That's all it really, and it's like that's one side. And the thing I'm not looking for is a lot of AI. And I've seen that already. Like people
Really?
just like,
Already?
yeah, yeah. And I'm like,
Wow.
oh my God, like you didn't even have
Thanks.
to really struggle through what a filmmaker actually has to go through to bring this to life. And I think people are already tired of the AI slop machine. No more AI slop. They want the analog, real human feeling films and something that's got heart to it. Even horror can have heart done
Oh
right.
yeah,
So that's what
definitely.
I look for. Um,
Definitely.
I will say this though, if somebody is thinking of getting their stuff out there, invest in good sound. That's one of the first things I would say. Good sound, and don't go buy a $8,000 camera. Rent one.
Smart.
Hire somebody to film it. That knows what they're doing, semi, uh, and get some good sound. That's what somebody told me, and I'll share that as well. 'Cause that's the biggest difference between, oh, this looks like you shot it, you know, you didn't know what you're doing versus something that works.
Right? Oh my gosh. I am so with you on that. I think sound is everything. And even if you're not completely sure about some shots, at least we hear what you're trying to we see it, but at least we hear it and we hear what you're trying to convey.
Yeah.
It's not gonna always be perfect because, no one has $1 million just, you know, waiting around to make a film these days. So
No, no, not at all.
did you hear about the guy that did the Obsession film? I
Yes.
think it
What a
was like
great story.
750,000 for the budget for the film, and then they made like 100 million. Sorry, 100 million. Yeah, sorry. Which is like
Yeah.
unheard of. It's
Well, I,
insane.
I think that is the kind of thing that's going to save our industry, I think,
Yeah.
is the indie level creators. Because you hear so many naysayers, oh, indie's dead and blah, blah, blah. You never get out there. If you listen to that crap, you'll just give up, right? And people even don't submit to film festivals. It never goes anywhere. And I'm like, okay, that was not my experience. I'm not submitting. I'm not submitting to, Sundance and expecting to be on the premier, list, but you can um, you can amass a following. You can get out there.
What are you excited about for 2026? For just yourself as a filmmaker, what's coming down the
Yeah,
pipeline for you?
I have begun to see just locally here in Georgia a trickle of auditions come in again. I'm hopeful
Nice.
that because Georgia itself has gone through some low times. Our industry has gone through some low times, right? After the strike and with the advent of AI, it's like everything came to a screeching halt, and everybody's like, "Well, where are we going? I don't know. Nobody's going." Well, whatever Georgia had went to Ireland or Vancouver and stuff like that, and so people were like, what does this mean? I don't know. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the truth is nobody actually knows what they're doing in a final sense. Everybody's
No,
just taking a best guess. But it seems like there's a trickle of things coming back to Georgia, right?
that's
So I am
good.
seeing more auditions for myself. The other thing is like through my own network of people like that I've built relationships with, not trying to get things out of them. Filmmakers have approached me and said, "Hey Charlie, I'd like to cast you in this film I'm shooting late summer." And I'm like,
Nice.
"Great."
Nice.
I don't get offers often. So I'm like, okay, that sounds great. And it's happened to me twice this
I
summer. So
love
I'm
it.
like, okay, there's two potential films that seem I've got a call with a filmmaker after this to discuss. So I'm
Awesome.
like, that's amazing. I'm excited about the festival as well. And just to see what other people are doing, right? And support
Yeah.
that. I'm excited to
You
see
know,
what you're gonna do.
no, I don't. Maybe if I don't think I have time to submit it for this year. Next year I'll submit it. The short film default mode that I did. It's an Italian film something that I
Nice.
wanted to do for a long time, something
An
different.
Italian film.
Yeah, it's all in Italian, but English subtitles.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
psychological horror. Well, yeah, psychological
Wow.
thriller horror. Yeah. But
That's
yeah, I
exciting.
just yeah,
Filmed in
I was
Italy?
like yes, actually filmed in Italy. Yeah, actually filmed in Italy. Yeah.
That's
And with
exciting.
an amazing friend of mine who, I just admire and he's fantastic and we were just talking for a long time about making something and he was like, "How about you just write it and, we get a little small crew and do it." I'm like, "Yeah." So I really wanted to show like, you can make a good story with, like you said, small budget, not even a budget, one location, but
Yeah,
it's all about story.
it
And
is.
that was a challenging part, but I really enjoy this challenging myself. I think I did
I
pretty
can't wait
good.
to see it. I
We'll
can't wait to
see.
see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. I'll submit it for sure for next year.
good.
Um, but it's in the film festival runs right now, so that's it's so it's interesting. Like I was just talking to a filmmaker, and they were talking about just how when you're done with the movie, all right, now it's like the work has to start promoting and
Oh
festivals.
man.
I was just talking to a director, a producer. He was saying that they got into 330 festivals. I was like, holy crap, that's a lot of festivals.
How do you keep up with that? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But I'm happy if I get 20,
Exactly. Exactly.
Um, obviously fun question. I love asking this. And I think I've asked you this before, but the three levels of influence, money,
Ooh.
power, and respect. Um, if you could choose only one, and
Mm.
there's no wrong answer, I promise, of those things, which one would you choose and why?
I feel like I've the honorable answer, of course, is respect. But it's like in what context? Respect from my family or industry, right? Because you could get respect from some people if your family hate you. Um,
It's true.
I, I I'm not willing to sacrifice them for my career. And that's part of why I left LA,
Mm,
honestly. So
mm,
I feel like I'm in that place where I have the respect of my fam. And from that place, I have their encouragement to keep going.
yeah,
So I feel like that's the more important one. Money will come. Money, if you are doing the right things, I'm convinced it's kind of because money is like seed, right? We believe that.
yeah,
And if you plant the right seeds, money can come. Like you have to understand that this is a business. It is a business. So there you do have to have some business acumen. And if you do, money will come in some form or another. I'm not saying millions of dollars or something. Power, I don't give two chicken shits about. I really don't. What is power? I mean, we're talking about something that we can wield over people and influence. You can have it. Uh, I'm not gonna lie, money's good. I'd like to take care of
you
my
know,
family.
I'll take that.
It's better to cry in a Porsche than it is a Kia. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
But
Ah,
I think respect is the honorable answer there,
I
honestly.
love it. I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Like you said, you're in it, you're married to the game, right? And for those out there, those filmmakers that are going to be at this Bloody Peach Festival this year, and who's
Yeah.
submitted, who's working hard and wants to be seen and wants to have that recognition one day, what advice would you give to them, those filmmakers out there?
Yeah, it's cliche, but just do it, man. Like,
Just do
just
it.
get out there. That's the biggest hurdle it was for me, is just like I had ideas in my head for so long, but the procrastination points are often just because you're afraid. You're afraid of more rejection. You're afraid of being ridiculed. Like but everybody has that.
Yeah.
Everybody. So at some point you have to just be like, screw it. I'm just gonna do it. I'm
Just
just
do it.
yeah. And then what the funny thing is when I actually started putting it out there and other people reacted like they did, like, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this, it didn't deter me. It actually spurred me. I'm like, ah, now I know, like I'm onto something. Uh, and it made me a little more stubborn in a good way. Like, I'm doing this. Boom.
Yeah,
So I would say just
definitely.
grab some stubbornness, man. That's an underrated trait.
I like
It
that.
really is. You got
Be
to be
more
a little
stubborn.
stubborn. Yeah, just good old stubbornness, man.
I love it. I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on. And again, congratulations. And to all the ones that have submitted to the festival. I can't wait to interview the winners and the people that are in the
Me too.
categories that you guys have. You guys have a lot of categories this year. That's
Yeah,
exciting. So, congratulations on that. Um,
thank you.
oh, really quick, where can people find you on social media to follow everything you have going on?
I'm on Instagram on and off. Charlie D. Newell is probably the
Okay.
main one.
All
And I
right.
have a YouTube
Follow
channel.
and
Yeah,
support.
follow, that's the game, right?
That's the game.
That's the
I love
game.
it. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Same. Good to see you.
You too. And thank you all for listening. And always remember to live, love, laugh. We'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.